or indexing. Like if I put P of within square bracket 0, I try to assign the 0th element with a new element, like instead of 30, I try to put 20, then I will get an error saying that tuple does not support item assignment. That is, once created, you won't be able to assign any new things within that. So next, we will move to dictionaries, which is so dictionaries are like lists only, except that each element is a key value pair. That means there will be a key and there will be a value. So the syntax is within curly brackets, key, and then colon value. So for example, I'll create a dictionary with name pick and within curly brackets, I'll first put the key, which is parameter or param, and then I'll put the colon, and then I'll assign the value. So if we want to give multiple entries, you may just give dot as in comma, and then put the second key, para 2, then a colon, and then put another value, which is 2. Now a dictionary has been created. So if we put type of pick, then it will give us dictionary. There is also an option to add elements to dictionary, like pick, then square brackets, we put the value which we want within it. It will be a. So now we can see that param has been replaced with a. Okay, that's about it. And I think now we will maybe move to control flow. The conditional statements are like in many other languages, if, elif, and else. So Python syntax for conditional execution of code uses these keywords. So example, we will put statement a equal to the Boolean false, and then statement 2 equal to again false, and then we put in if statement, if okay, if and we give a colon, we press enter, then the indentations will be correctly coming here. Put print statement is true. So this is a very simple program that we wrote. We first assigned the boolean to these three variables, and in this conditional loop, what it is checking is that if this is true, then execute this, or that is written here. Else, if that is not true, then check if this is true, and if that is true, execute what is written here. And if even that isn't true, then go to this else statement, and if this condition is true, then execute this. So we will now try and run it, or even to make our code efficient, we don't actually need this third statement. So just comment it out here by putting a hash. And if we run it, we will get that statement 1 and statement 2 are false. Like if it is looking at if this is true, then that is not the case. So it is directly skipping here. And else if this is true, that is also not true. So it is directly going to this else statement. And since these both conditions are not met and we haven't given a condition for else, it will execute this command. So if we change this false to true, what happens is here it goes false, and but here this turns true, and the command under elif is executed. So that's okay. That's pretty much about it for our conditional statements. Now I think we can move to loops. So there are loops can be programmed in many different ways. The most common is the for loop, which is used together with iterable objects such as list. The basic syntax for loops is for some variable in some list or some objects, and then we give a column, and then under that the conditions. So for example, we give for x in, we define a list with the elements 1, 2, and 3, and we give print x. So what this does is 4x, which is a variable name referring to any element within this list. In this list, so if any element x is there in this list, then it will print x. So x is just a variable to note the or to contain the data points within this. So if we run it, what we will get is the output, which is a print of the elements within this list. Now, for loop iterates over the elements of the supplied list, which is this one. It will iterate over this list and execute the containing block once for each element. Any kind of list can be used in for loop. For example, earlier we have seen that range of. So if we give a range of 4, then what it means is it will take the first 4 elements, which is 0, 1, 2, and 3. I will just type that for x in range of 4. And we will print it by print of x. Okay, so what it does is it will take this thing, range of 4, and which contains 0, 1, 2, and 3, and it will print it. So also note that range starts with 0 also. If we need 4 included, then we should put here 5 so that it will reference up to 5, but 5 will not be printed. That is, it will print only the first 5 elements. And also, if we want a range between particular numbers, like in the previous example, we did from 1 to 6, we can do that by 4x in range of, let's say, 1, 6, then a colon, we print it. We will get the values starting from 1 up to 6, and 6 will not be included. So that's what we get. And if we want to try something else, like for minus 3 to 6, to show that. Now we will try a list with string elements that we put for word or for x, anything is fine. It will just take it as a variable. And we will put a string which contains, we will put a list which contains strings, science, English, and then we print the variable. We give the entries with in this list, which is sci, math, and ink. Okay. So what this means is you know what is like s equal to. So what we do for s within square bracket a column, what we do is refer from the first element to the last element. That is, it prints the full thing. Where was that? Okay. So what this does is it prints the full thing. Like, so here what we do is for the full thing, we print it with the interval as 3. So for hello world, it gives first thing H, E, then it skips one and like that. Like, so if we take a more understandable thing, WL, then it skips this two, like O and R within this. That is, we're giving here 3, so it will skip 2 elements within between these things. And the next thing, pop option is there. Pop is for also getting the elements, popping it out within the lists. So yes, that is also there. So now sometimes it is also useful to have access to the indices of the values when we are iterating over a list. So we can use the enumerate function for this. So what this means is for, say, idx x in enumerate range -3, 3, and give a colon. So we put print idx comma x. Okay, so what this does is we, with this function enumerate, what we do is print out the index, which is this thing. Since we have given -3 and 3, the elements will be from -3 to 2. And we are also printing the index of those elements along with it, which will be denoted by the variable name idx, which stands for index, and then the element variable, which is x in this case. So we will now see how to do certain calculations with the for loop. Like, for example, let us define a list L, and suppose we need the square of the first 4 or 5 terms. So what we do is L equal to, we define it as a list X. For square, we put double star 2, 4, X, N, range of 0, 5. So what this does is, 4 elements between 0 to 5, it will reference that and do this operation, which is square it. So if we will print it, we will get this variable output as 0, 1, 4, 9, 16, which is the square of the numbers. I think that's pretty much the basics of for loop. Now we will look at while loops. So while loops are loops which will execute a condition as per the condition is true. Like, for example, we will define I, which is equal to 0. Then we'll write the while loop while I is less than 5, for example, we will print I. And then we will update the value I equal to by 1, I plus 1, and when this is done, when this loop is finished its iteration, we will print done. Okay, so what it does is for the first iteration, I is 0, and this condition is true, I is 0. So it will print I, and then it will update the value I equal to I plus 1. That is, it will increase by 1. Then it will go again, and now I is 1, it is still less than, and like that it will go till it is 4. Now, when it is 4, 4 is less than 5, that is still true. It will print 4. Now it will get updated to the value 5. So while 5 is not less than 5, 5 is equal to 5. So this becomes false, and then it will come out of the loop and print done. That is what is happening there. Also, note that done got printed because it is outside of the loop. Now, how do we go outside of the loop? By indentation. We can see that after I put this colon and I press enter, there is a space coming here from this border line to this. So that is called as indentation. So whatever I put after this, it will be held within this loop. So if we want to get out of the loop, we just press backspace so that it can get out of the loop. So that print done statement is not part of the while loop because of the difference in indentation. So if I put that indentation, then it will be part of that loop, and every time it will be like 0 done, 1 done, like that it will come. I see that it's been almost 1 hour. I think we will take a 5 minutes break. You can try out anything in Colab at the meantime, or even go and take a drink if you want. We will join back at, I think, 11:15. Time is 11:10 now. Okay.
Hello, Jayadev. Hello. Is it audible?
Hello?
Jayadev,
Yes, ma'am.
yes, you minded of your class, sir?
No, it's a break, 5 minutes break.
Okay, okay, okay. Actually, some participants were saying we're not able to listen. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Oh.
Okay, I hope everyone is back. We will start a session again. So I think at a glance, we have completed a main idea for today, main topics that I intended to take for today. Now I will say some more things about the same topic, which I kind of skipped to because of not being sure whether I'll be able to make it in time. So I will go and say certain basic things. So there are multiple ways of running a Python code in a computer. So for Windows systems, you need to go to python.org, which is the official site for Python, and you can download Python here. So the latest version of Python is 3.9.5. So you can download it here, and after downloading, you can download a code editor, which is called as an IDE or an integrated development environment. There are many IDEs available out there, but what is recommended is PyCharm. And what I use is a Jupyter notebook. But often the problem that I face with such IDE is that it is slow, and for certain applications, either I would need a very fast hardware or I would need to install particular libraries and modules within that so that I can work with that. So the advantage with certain notebooks in the cloud, for example, this collaboratory, is that I get free GPU or an advanced hardware for absolutely no cost. And whenever there is an internet connection, I will be always able to get into it without any problems. So for Linux and Mac users, we have Python in the command line itself. So you'll be able to go to Python by just opening the terminal and typing Python, and you will be taken into the Python edit area. So you can do that. And Python files will mostly be saved with the extension .py. If we check here, we can see that this particular file in which I've been showing the demo is saved with the extension .ipynb, which is a extension for the Python notebooks. We can directly export it to Jupyter, or if we have a particular file, if we have a particular Python file, then we can export it directly into Collaboratory with this upload option. This is the place where you will be able to see all your recent works. So, and this is the option for opening a new notebook. In this tab, we can see all of the IPYNB file saved in Google Drive account. This is a GitHub tab in which we can, kind of import any files which is there in our GitHub account. And also there's this option of uploading in the upload tab. My network seems to be a bit slow. Okay, here you can choose a file. If we click that, okay, we'll get this box and we can navigate to our file with this and then open it so that we can import it into Colab. So out here you can see all the introduction for Colab, and there's also this examples which are given here. Like these are the contents there, and in that first pop-up tab that we got, there's also an option for, there's also a tab for examples. So all this will be included there. So you can refer these in your free time. Also, certain things that I want to tell you is that the concept of board mass applies here, which is operator precedence. Like if we are doing multiple calculations within this, then everything will happen according to the board mass, which is bracket of division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. It will go only in that order. Like if we do 2 into 3 plus 2 power of 3, then we'll get 14. Now, if we were to put a bracket here, then we'll get 5 and 2, because what it does is that bracket has a higher precedence. So first it will evaluate what is within this, and only then will it take the power. And also note that the double star, which is for raised to, has higher precedence than minus. So if you want the negative base, then we have to use parentheses. Like for example, minus 3 to the power 2 gives minus 9, even though it should be 9. But this is actually the same as putting minus of 3 squared. It also gives minus 9. So the correct way to do it is put minus 3 within the parenthesis then put square. So that gives 9. So in C++, we might have seen a thing called as double, which is the same thing here called as the float. So, and also I've shown you how to assign data to variables, to multiple variables within a single line. Like, for example, I assign the value of 2 to the variable x, and the value of 3 to the variable y. Now you can see that it is assigned. So a very favorite question of the interviewers is to swap numbers. Now here it is very easy. What you do is x comma y equal to y comma x. What it does is put the value which is in y to x and which is in x to y. You can now see that x has the value 3 and y has the value 2. Also, I have shown you how to define complex numbers, which was like x equal to 1 minus 1j. And type of x will show as complex. There's also another way to define complex numbers, which is with the function complex. Y equal to complex, then parenthesis 3 comma minus 4, and we'll run that out. So we'll get 3 minus 4j. The first part gives the imaginary number, and the second part is the first part is the real number, and the second part is the imaginary part. And I said that there are certain keywords which shouldn't be used as variable name. So what are those keywords? Keywords are like pre-written functions. We will learn about functions and how to write functions in tomorrow's class. So keywords are pre-written functions that are stored within this Python library. So certain keywords are false and true, which are the Boolean operators, and like for, if, else if, which are in the loops, and like that. So how to know what are the keywords? For not only keywords, for also finding help with how to use a certain data type and everything, you can just type help and within brackets, within quotations, keywords. If you do that, you can see the list of Python keywords. You can enter any keyword to get more information on how to use that and like that. So now we know the basics. So let us try doing one simple program to calculate the BMI. If you already know the logic, then you can do it by yourself, or just do it like for BMI, we need the weight and height of a person. So we put the weight equal to, let's say, 75. Weight is in kilogram, and we put height equal to, let's say, 1.7, which is in meters, and we put BMI, which is equal to weight divided by height squared. So the formula for BMI is weight divided by height square. We know that. And if we do that, we will get the BMI. I'll just print it out. So the BMI works out to be about 25.9. You can I'll give you some time to try it out. Okay, I hope you have completed. I was talking about variables, and there is one special variable which is underscore. So underscore contains the last printed expression. That is, if we print a variable, then that will be contained within the underscore. Like, for example, let us take another example. If we put the principal amount as 1000 and the rate as 3.75%, which is 3.75 by 100, and then we do principal into rate, we will get the total amount. So that is the interest rate. Now to find the total amount, what we do is add the principal amount to this interest, which is principal, which is in our variable PRI, plus we put underscore and we run it. So what it will do is our principal variable has the value 1000 in it, plus the underscore, which is the last printed value is contained in this underscore, and we can use that. So that is a neat little trick you can use if you want. And suppose now what happens is we have this value within the underscore. So if we want to round it off, let's say we have another function called round. So underscore contains our last printed value. So we'll put that and we'll round it. So we can see that 1037.5 is rounded off to 1038. So this underscore variable is read only. We can't explicitly assign a value to it. So doing so will create an independent local variable with the same name, thereby asking the built-in variable with its properties. And Another thing is the backslash. We use backslash to escape quotes, that is, to use a quote within the string itself. What I mean is, we use a print statement. We use the quotes to denote what is being printed. This does will print this thing as it is. If this quotation were not there, what it will does is try to it does is it will see if does is a variable and whether is there any data within does. So here we can see that name does is not defined because we didn't assign any value to does, and so it is showing an error. But if we give it within this quotation marks, then it will take it as a string and print it as is. So now what if we need to print doesn't? It has a hash printed over there, but if we try to print it now, it will give us an error showing invalid syntax. So how we solve this is by putting a backslash before putting a quotation. So what it does is it will skip reading this as the end of the string. And there's also this thing about how to print in successive lines. So similar to many other languages, we do that by slash and like for example, we put first line, then we put a backslash n, and then we do line. And then we print s. So it will come in separate lines. What you need to do for that is just put a slash n. And there is certain operation within string which you can do. For example, let us define a string with our favorite hello world. So I have defined a string hello world. Now there are certain functions to manipulate this. Suppose we want to capitalize the first word for that. I will make this small letter so that it becomes meaningful. So suppose we want to capitalize the beginning letter, beginning character. So what we do is print. We should be small, always remember that. Then we put the variable name, which is s dot capitalize, capitalize, and then give a parenthesis. So what it does is it will capitalize the first character, which is H, is capitalized here. Now, suppose we want to capitalize the first characters of both the words. So what we do is print s dot title and then give a parenthesis. So what it does is it will capitalize both H and W. And so if we want to make this hello world is written in small letters, right? So if we want to make it into capital letters, we can use the function called as upper. We do that by putting print and s dot upper. We convert it into uppercase. So now we can see that hello world is fully printed in capital letters. And suppose if we want to give space, if we want to justify a string by padding it with space, we do that by rjust, that is right justify. We do that by print s dot rjust, and then we put the number of spaces that we need. I will just put it 15, and if we print, it will give us this. You can see that it has been justified. There are 15 spaces probably there. Now, okay, suppose we want to replace another element. So what we do is print s dot replace. So okay, suppose we want to replace L. So what we do is within quotation we'll give L, comma, then within quotation we will give what we need it to be replaced with. Let's say K. Okay, so what happened here is I have replaced in the string every L with K. So you get Heko Bokut. Okay. So there are also, like I said, to check if certain conditions are true. Like if we get to check if S is an upper, then we put S dot upper. Not S dot upper, it is S is upper because it is checking whether is S, that is hello world, in upper. S is not in upper because it is everything is in small cases, and it is showing as false. Now, okay, I will teach you how to input certain characters. Like if we want to input our favorite color, or if we want to write a program which does some operation by taking input from the user, we do that by putting the function called as input. Like I will show for color, like we assign it to a variable favorite color equal to ut input of. And if we want any text to be displayed with that, we'll just put that within the quotation mark. What is your favorite color? And we will print that whatever is suit. So now when I run that, it will give this text field for me to give some input. Let's say I like blue, then I put blue and press enter. Then it will take blue for this variable fav color, and it will, since it has the data blue, it will print as blue. So you can see that what is your favorite color? This text has been showed there. Yeah, I hope you got that. Okay, now also I have said that strings can be concatenated with the plus operator. So how we do that is by, let's see, un, I give plus IM. So we get union by concatenation. That is the classic example. Also, multiplying a integer with a string will result in a repetition of the string that much times. Like if I give 3 into un, then it will give un, like this. And also within the print statement, if I put to print certain pattern, let's say star, and I need to print it, say 8 times, what I do is within quotation, within that quotation, I will put star and then multiply it by 8 times. So what it will do, it is pull this star 8 times. Okay, I have shown you that input statement. Let us work on that more. So suppose we need to enter a student's name, uv underscore name equal to input. We give the input function so that the user can give an input and we will instruct to enter the name. And I will take that name and print a hi in front of it. I do that by hi, giving a space. Then I put plus and the variable name, which is underscore name. We run that and we give a name. So it will say hi Jayadev. Now there are a lot of functions to be which is applicable to strings. If you are interested to find what are those, then you can just type in dir of string, or you can even put help string. So this will explicitly give what are all the functions that can be operated with string. Here we can see that is lower, is upper that we defined. Okay, now I have said about indexing. Let's see, for example. Okay, in S we have hello Python. So if I put the index of 0, then it will print H because H is the first word. And if I put -1, what it does is it will refer the last character, which is D. And if I put -2, is someone trying to say anything? Okay. So if we index it to -2, what it will do is print the second last, which is L. So negative indexing works from the last to the first. The same negative indexing also works for list. So keep that in mind. So now I will show some properties of lists maybe. Let us define a list of heights. Height will be, let's say, 1.4, 1.5, 1.7. Now, like I said, insert adds a element at a specified location. Like if we want to insert index 1, a height of 1.6, and I'll just do that. And I can select Y. Somebody's mic is on, I think. Radish sir. Radish sir. Hello. Hello. Radish sir. I don't have the option to mute. Radish sir. Hello. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Jayadev, you can continue.
Hi.
I muted him.
Okay. Thanks. So if we put it insert, then what it does is it will insert 1.6 at index 1, which is this is index 0. So the second element will be 1.6. So I did that. And now to remove, we have this function called as remove, like dot. Let us remove, I think, 1.7. Okay, now we can see that 1.7 has been removed. So as somebody was saying, we have this pop. So what this is, let's see, 1.4. Okay, pop apparently doesn't take float. So I will add an integer value, suppose 2. So what it does is remove and return items at that index. So what it will do is at the index 2, it will remove that. So we can see 1.5 is there with the index 2, which is 0, 1, 2. So it will remove that. Also, along with the data types, there is one more thing called as sets. Sets is an unordered collection of distinct elements. These are also similar to dictionary, and we define it by using curly braces. By, let's say, animals, cat and dog. And if we put type, then it will say that it is a set. And we can add elements by ANI. Add ANI is the name of the set, and add is the function used to add that. And humans. So it will show that humans is added. We can perform operations in sets too. Right? Union, intersection, and difference. Union is done by the operator of this, and intersection is done by ampersand, and difference is by a hyphen notation. Okay, I think we are done for the day. Also remember that pop takes index value and removes that. I actually mistook it for a value within the list. It actually takes the index value and removes that from the list. So I think we are done for the day. If any of you have anything to recommend for tomorrow, you can either put it in the chat or unmute yourself and see, or even pass it on to Nishant sir or Aradi ma'am. So for tomorrow, we will be discussing functions, how to define functions, and we'll look at certain problems, and then we'll see classes and modules. And and if any of you have any request, you can make that. That's why I put topics on demand, and we'll see certain problems, which is the examples. Nishant sir has also asked me to show how to import images and videos and even process it. So I will be showing that as part of my ASAP course. I have done a project on mask detection. So I think I will show how how I did it, and the code and the logic behind it. So if you have any more suggestion, please convey it to me. So for now, I think we are good. Nishant sir.
So dear participants, if you have any queries about today's session, you can ask now. Is there any queries? You can put your queries in chat box also. I think there is no queries. So we can continue tomorrow. So,
Okay. I know that this might have been hard to follow because I had the same problem in my first class. So I will send this material to you, a more curated one, tomorrow. So maybe you can refer that and learn. Also, there are certain courses and further reference materials. I will also discuss that tomorrow.
Thank you, Jayadev sir. Thank you very much for this hands-on session. Jayadev sir introduced Python programming basics. He shared relevant concepts like platform used for compiling, how to handle variables, how to do error correction in simple and understandable manner. I hope this session gave you enough confidence to experiment with Python. We will continue this hands-on session on tomorrow. Thank you, Jayadev sir. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Jayadev. Thank you very much for your session.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for this opportunity.
Okay, thank you. So dear participants, today's second session on machine learning algorithm for pattern recognition, pattern analysis by Dr. B.S. Rajimohan sir will start at 2 p.m. So you can join using the same link, and feedback form will share in chat box. Please fill and submit. Thank you.